Honourable Member for St. James North.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. There comes a time in the tenure of any Parliament that adheres to the Westminster system of government for the members who are privileged to serve in that Parliament to make firm, strong, unequivocal decisions and to send messages to the public and the citizens who those parliamentarians serve. This is such a time, sir, in the period of this Parliament. The time, sir, call for strong, firm decisions to arrest what can undermine all the economic gains that this still relatively new government, sir, has obtained in the 10 months that we have been in office. The prime purpose of any government, sir, is to secure its citizens against threats. As the Honourable Member for Christchurch South in his contribution to the budget very recently said, sir, a government is there primarily to protect and safeguard law, order, and good government. In fact, I think it is section 48 of our Constitution actually spells that out, so that the Parliament is there to make laws for the good order and good government of a country. We therefore, sir, have an overriding duty to the people we serve, the whole of Barbados, sir, even more so since this party won all the seats, sir, by massive majorities. We have a duty to secure the physical element and the total well-being of our people. I'm satisfied, sir, and I'm happy to see that the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, is giving the government support on this, sir, as well we knew he would. We're satisfied that this amendment to the Bail Act, sir, is absolutely necessary to secure the paramountcy of the security of the citizens and the people who reside in this country. A government, sir, doesn't easily come to this kind of decision, sir, to restrict in legislatively the liberties of an individual who may not yet have been found guilty, sir, because we still abide by the principle that you're innocent until you're proven guilty, sir. But times, sir, merit this kind of action. We have, as the Honourable Attorney General said when he introduced this amendment earlier today, we have had situations, 20 assassinations in the first 3 months of the year, some by persons allegedly having committed murder before, somehow finding themselves out on bail, sir, others charged with serious firearm offences and possession of all kind of ammunition, sir, but yet out on bail, sir, and then coincidentally, sir, by happen chance, a splurge in firearm offences and murder when they're let out on bail, sir. But yet, sir, people have the right to a fair trial, so we're not casting any judgment, sir, in that absence, but the facts and the inferences speak for themselves, sir. And therefore, the Cabinet which I'm a member, has brought to this Parliament this amendment to the Bail Act, sir. This is not a political device, sir. The last Democratic Labour Party administration drafted an amendment to the Bail Act in 2017 which would have denied bail in similar circumstances, in fact the same circumstances that we are dealing with today, for 18 months, sir. We have gone to 24, sir. We feel that the times require this time frame to bring the society back, sir. There may only be about 100, as I understand it, 150, the most thugs, sir, and sir, I, like the learned Attorney General, sir, you're not afraid to use these words, sir. You got to call a spade, sir. Thugs that creating problems in this country, and it has to be arrested for the benefit of the other 280 or 300, so whatever the population is, sir, including the visitors that may happen to be in Barbados at any given time, sir. And therefore, a Parliament has to reserve the right to look at what is of prime importance, the security of its citizens over and above the liberties of any individual person, sir. And hence this legislative intervention here today. So the intervention is still constrained reasonably and sensibly, sir, that if a judge believes that self-defense would be a good defense in a case, the judge could grant bail in under the 24 months, and that's in the amendment. If the person who has been accused of the killing, sir, did it in the execution of their official duty, sir, a policeman, it is only fair, sir, that they should reasonably be able to be granted bail in the right circumstances. Sir, if on the evidence the court feels that a satisfactory defense may be made out, the evidence presented in court at the time of a bail application within the 24-month period, sir, the judge is allowed to grant bail under this amendment, sir. But in each case, the judge has to give reasons, written reasons, and again, that is only reasonable. Put in writing your reasons so that the prosecution can appeal if it finds it fit to do so. There's provision for that, can appeal to a tribunal of a court of appeal. Sir, we are not doing anything unreasonable here today, nothing that the public does not demand, sir. I think the public all across Barbados have been asking, what will Parliament do, what will the government do about this situation? And we have to respond to public perception and to public feelings. The public wants to be protected, and that's what we're moving to do today. In addition, sir, I'm in full agreement of the amendment that allows for a 72-hour period, 3 days, sir, after a bail application is filed, before the application can be heard, sir, because I must confess, sir, that this system whereby somebody accused of serious crimes, sir, murder, can go before a judge without the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions being aware and argue a case, and you don't hear the other side why he should not be granted bail, sir, really and truly offends proper common sense, sir. And therefore, I'm all for the 72-hour period whereby notice has to be given to the office of the DPP. They are given time to prepare the case. The judge must be satisfied that notice has been given to the DPP. And let us come, sir, and argue the case on both sides so that nobody can get bail in the middle of the night, without the prosecution office of Barbados knowing. Sir, sometimes it is better for someone accused of a serious crime, sir, to be kept in confinement for their own protection. Because, sir, you are a criminal lawyer, top one to be said, sir, and we live in this Barbados, sir. We know what's going on, and we know that what has happened in the past and continues to happen, sir, is in some cases you have to protect a man from himself, and therefore Dodge is sometimes the best place, because he outside, he's going to be subject to reprisals. Somebody can come and shoot him. Some cases now, sir, you even seeing the close relatives under fire as well. So, sir, this is a reasonable intervention and amendment, sir. We will aim, as the Honourable Attorney General said, to have murder cases tried within a year. Sir, and I think that's reasonable in all the circumstances. We've passed legislation last month to allow or to amend the Constitution to permit the appointment of more judges, sir, and we would have said, I believe, that 2 or 3 of them will be assigned purely to criminal cases. We will ensure that the judges have their judicial clerks to do the research, sir, to assist them. We will ensure, and we have been ensuring, sir, in terms of technology for the judges. The refurbished Supreme Courts are due, I believe, to reopen this month, sir. In other words, all systems we are ensuring as a government will be in place to allow for trial of murder accused and serious offences, firearm offences, to be held within the space of a year. So the 2-year period, 24 months, is reasonable, sir. We cannot allow further breakdown in the law and the order of this country, because ultimately then, as the Honourable Member for Christchurch South has said, good government will also be under threat and jeopardy. Sir, the Honourable Attorney General also announced that a gun amnesty will be going in place for 1 week, sir, from next week. 1 week, sir, is long enough time. When you multiply 7 by 24, sir, you get what? 168 hours, sir. We only take 1 hour, sir, to walk to the nearest police station and bring in your gun, sir. And we are urging, sir, the relatives, those who live at home where the guns are, sir, to bring them in too. Don't be frightened for your son, your grandson, your nephew, sir. You are protecting him when you do this. When you bring in the guns, the bullets, the ammunition, whatever, sir. 168 hours. We've had gun amnesties in the past, sir. They have not been as successful as the police had hoped they would be. Let's hope that this one is more successful, sir. When I was, for the 7 months, sir, Minister responsible for the police, and the Honourable Attorney General, now responsible for the police, has also said this, sir. You walk about Barbados and you're barraged by people approaching you, I want a gun license. The Commissioner of Police denied me a gun license, I want one, because the Minister responsible for the police, sir, has the right to hear an appeal against the denial of a gun license by the Commissioner of Police, the Minister and the Commissioner, sir. And sometimes you say, sir, Papa, why, so many people want guns? That is not the answer to the problem, sir. I would like every gun removed from Barbados, sir, except those that the police would have and defense force. I don't see why somebody should have a gun, sir. That's the truth. This is not America where there's some constitutional right to bear arms, sir. And America deals with America, sir. I have my views on that. So the right to bear arms, I don't know why somebody should have any constitutional right to bear arms. That is not so in Barbados. And somebody with a gun say that they want a gun because the commissioner refused a gun license. And then when somebody know you got a gun, 6 fellas hold you up at night, take away the gun, what you going to do? Another gun on the street. Doesn't make sense. Let us remove all the guns from around this place. My opinion too, sir, there are too many licensed gun dealers, too, people who could sell guns legally. We need to cut that down as well. I mean, this is not any military state, sir. And we're calling on all those who have these firearms and this weaponry and these ammunitions and bullets and all that, bring them in next week, sir. You're not, nobody can charge you for bringing them in. It's 168 hours. Let us come back to what values Barbados traditionally stands for, sir. As a society, let us develop. So give us that opportunity as a government to lead the way with our socio-economic development, continue leading it, sir, but we can't do it alone, sir. We cannot do it alone. Other aspects of society have to intervene and help us, sir. The church has to help us, sir. And I totally agree with the Honourable Prime Minister this morning in her sentiments on spiritual values, sir. You don't have to go to church to have that, sir. But you have to have inculcated in you a Christian understanding, spiritual values, sir. And we have to bring that back to the community. And really and truly, sir, as I mean, all of us know, you go in any church on a Sunday morning, or if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, you visit a Seventh-day Adventist church a Saturday morning, sir. And invariably, 80% of the congregation are female, sir. And you wonder to yourself, what is wrong? Why we can't get more males to come in the church, sir? I mean, it isn't only women. The women can't be carrying all the burden, sir. That's the truth. So we need to get more males back to Christian understanding, spiritual values, even if they don't go to church, sir. Some kind of religious education in the schools, sir. Again, I don't agree with America, sir, on that about religious education. Some kind of indoctrination on what is right and what is wrong. Moral values, sir. If we are to go ahead, the schools, sir, our educational system, as we said, sir, during the debates on the estimates, the Honourable Minister for Education, in response to a question from myself, sir, the first question she received in the Welsh, sir, on reform of educational curricula, sir, we need to do that more, to widen the span, to give young people with different abilities the opportunity to progress, sir. But we are giving them the opportunities, sir. We've restored state-funded university education. We're looking to expand vocational training, sir, skills training available there. The Barbados Community College, the Polytechnic, the youth programs, sir, that we have, the trust funds that we do in, sir. These are opportunities for young persons, sir, between the ages of 16 and 25, especially those who are given the most trouble, to avail themselves and to do good, not only now by society, sir, and their families, but to themselves as well, sir. And not feeling that they have to get involved in criminal activities, sir, to survive and to make a dollar, sir. You have to be able to make a dollar honestly and not involved in criminal activity, sir. These young persons, sir, mainly young men, as we said, sir, sometimes, as we said, encouraged by young women, sir. I mean, the learned Attorney General spoke about that today. Have to understand that when they get involved in criminal activity, it has repercussions in the families too, sir, because invariably you see a close female relative breaking down in the court when they get sent off to jail, sir. They were a very, 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 very nice boy. They never get in trouble. They're quiet and all of that, sir. But these are the same fellas out there that create and bear havoc in this country, sir. The fathers have to take hold too, sir. Yes, it can't only be mothers, as I said. But the females especially have more influence over their male children, in terms of the grandmothers. They might have raised them, sir. The females, that's a fact of the matter. In society such as Barbados, sir, has more influence over them. And we have to be able, sir, to bring these 150 people, sir, reoccurring, creating bare trouble and mayhem in this place, bring them to Christian understanding, sir. And we are doing our best, sir. We've brought to Parliament, within recent times, early last month, Proceeds of Crime and Instrumentalities Act, to try to take the profit out of crime, sir. We brought integrity legislation to the floor of this Parliament, sir. Hopefully we'll soon come out of the select committee, will be passed this year into the laws of the land. We've brought a constitutional amendment to this Parliament, sir, and I believe it will continue today in terms of the trying to abide by the decision of the highest court of this land, the Caribbean Court of Justice, the removal of the mandatory death penalty, sir, so that the murder cases can be heard again, and there will be the opportunity then for judges to sentence for murder and death penalty on a conviction of murder, sir, after all the reviews are carried out, sir. We've given millions of dollars in the estimates to the police, sir, to try and buttress their ability to defend the territory and the individual citizens of Barbados, sir. We've made provision for $41 million for scanners at the customs, sir, to try to curb the influx of flow of guns into this country, sir, which have obviously come in through legitimate ports of entry, if not by other means as well, sir. This government is doing its best, sir, but we need the cooperation of everybody in this country. All the non-governmental organizations, those who serve the social aspects of this country, sir. If not, we will go nowhere in terms of our economic recovery, sir. And I, like previous members, the Honourable Member for Christchurch East, spoke today, sir, and I commend as well the Prime Minister for reaching out to all members of Parliament, the opposition, the independent senators, sir, now for the second time last Thursday on bringing all lawmakers up to date on where we are in terms of the security of this land and what we plan to do to try and buttress that security, sir, and to try to and to ask for the support, sir, of all the lawmakers in this country and, of course, the wider public, sir. We are being transparent, we are being accountable, sir, because we know that 30 people alone in this Parliament can't do it. But we will succeed, sir. We know that there are human rights advocates around who will condemn us for doing what we're doing, sir. We have to do what we have to do to protect the integrity of this country, Barbados, sir. We can't mind people in the international arena who can tell us about human rights, sir. That is true. And I say that fully grounded, sir, in law and in human rights law too, sir. But you have to make decisions, sir, and there comes a time in the tenure of any parliament where such decisions as are being made today have to be made, sir. If not, parliamentarians will be found to be derelict in their duty, sir. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition has made mention of whether the prison population can take the numbers, sir, the prison's population, and it stands now, and I speak, sir, as Minister with responsibility for the prisons, sir. Prisons can house 1,100 people, sir. Right now, the population of the prisons hovers around 850, sir. A lot of leeway. But in addition to that, sir, yes, we as a government are committed, sir, in our manifesto and in our policies to lessen the prison population for those who committed small-time offences, sir, and to bring about more restorative justice and more community service, sir, and to remove imprisonment from those that have, you know, breach the criminal law, sir, but not in any big way, and look to reform such individuals, sir. So the prison's population for small-time crimes, sir, should be coming down in any event. So there's no question of the prisons becoming overcrowded numerically, sir, but we also recognize, sir, and I know the Honourable Leader of the Opposition in his speech, I believe, last week at a school speech, they spoke about this. We as a government are actively looking at reform of prisoners, sir. Greater rehabilitation, sir. There's rehabilitation of prisoners. There is, sir. I mean, and there have been success stories, sir. Don't let's deny this. There have been success stories of people coming out of prisoners out of prison after long jail sentences and making useful contributions in society, sir. I have 3 paintings in my house by a prisoner when he was in prison. In there for about 15 years, sir, one of the best artists in Barbados. And I have 3 of his paintings in my house, sir. Success story. Come out of prison, hasn't got into any conflict with the law again. So it can be done, sir. There is rehabilitation. But there's a need to strengthen that rehabilitation, sir. And up to yesterday afternoon, in fact, at this very time, sir, I was in a meeting with the Superintendent of Prisons, sir, on discussing ideas and policies which we will bring to Cabinet in the foreseeable future for Cabinet's approval on how we could enhance and strengthen the rehabilitation and reform of prisoners, sir. So very vital in this. We have to, traditionally there was a situation where the prisons didn't conduct rehabilitation programs on people on remand because, I mean, they were on remand for a short time, sir, before their case came up and they were either found guilty or not guilty. But the truth of the matter is, yes, that with the lengthening of now time before cases actually can come up in court, which, as I said, we are looking to shorten it, certainly in the short term for serious offences, murder, firearm offences. So the prisons didn't really carry out rehabilitation on prisoners who were on remand, sir. That policy has changed recently, sir. The times demand that it changes, sir. And this has to be strengthened, sir. We have to look at, obviously, a parole system. The previous government passed legislation in this Parliament in 2015 on that. The law has not been proclaimed, sir, and we are obviously looking at that, fine-tune it, see where we can go for that in terms of parole, but obviously with an oversight by the state of you when you come out of prison on parole. We're looking at reform of the juvenile justice system, sir. Our manifesto spoke about securing international funding for that, sir, and just last Thursday at Cabinet, I would have brought a paper which was approved, securing funding from an international agency, sir, Templeton, on studies leading to reform of the juvenile justice system, greater educational opportunities for young people who get in conflict with the criminal justice system, trying to give them second chances in life, sir. All of this we are doing as a state and as a government, sir, to try to give greater opportunities to individuals who at age 15, 16, 17 may feel that this involvement in criminal activity is the option which they must take. They have to understand, sir, that this cannot be an option. It just cannot. It will not be tolerated by this government, sir. We will continue to do everything, every single thing, to strengthen the socio-economic development of our country, sir. And that entails securing the state against the criminal activity that we are seeing, sir, and not for the first time, sir, because yes, has been said by members, this has been around for a long time, sir. In the early 90s, you had attorney generals defending, saying there were no gangs in Barbados, sir, when everybody knew there were gangs, sir. In 1999, you had a then leader of the opposition, who the late Prime Minister of recent times, sir, who politicized it, sir, spoke about crime and violence, sir. This is not a political issue, sir. Can't be political issue, sir. All of us have to come together to defend the rights of the citizens of Barbados. And I am fully in support of these amendments to the Bail Act, which are before your Honourable House. I'm obliged to you, sir.